Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Tuesday, May the 30th, 2023. It's my birthday today. As I mentioned yesterday, I've been telling everyone it's my birthday. I've also been telling everyone that I'm going to be 61. Well, sorry, I am 61 today. I know I mentioned that being 61, indeed being any age, is bad news because it's just one more nail in your coffin every single year. You're getting closer and closer to your death. But on the plus side, I'm still alive. A lot of people don't make it to 61. Now, as far as my birth details are concerned, I'm not afraid to tell you that I was born on May the 30th, 1962 in Redhill, Surrey. And as far as the time of birth, for pretty much all my life, at least all my life that I was aware of astrology, I thought that I was born at 3:30 a.m. Now, some years ago, just after my mother died, I got through the post a package of materials, papers, that kind of thing. And amongst the papers was a tag from the hospital where I was born. I think it was the East Surrey Hospital in Redhill. And it said I was born at 3:35. I was born actually 5 minutes later than I thought. That was a major shock. I had to completely reconsider everything. 5 minutes. You might think 5 minutes doesn't make much difference. 5 minutes makes a huge amount of difference. In some astrological systems, 5 minutes can mean that a prediction is going to take place 1 year later. So that's serious. Also, I always thought at 3:30 my ascendant was 2 degrees 27 minutes Taurus. And then I find that my ascendant is 4 degrees 54 minutes Taurus. Now, that's important because my Mercury is at 1953 Gemini. So with this new time, I suddenly find that my Mercury is exactly semi-sextile my ascendant. Sorry, semi-square my ascendant. 45 degrees. So what does that mean? Mercury 45 degrees the ascendant. Depends how you look at it. 45 degrees, it's a hard aspect. Perhaps I have problems communicating. Or perhaps communication is really important to me. I don't know. I'll perhaps talk about it at a later date. Anyway, I've talked enough about me, and what I'm going to do is look at today's astrology, what's going on today. And here we go. Here is the chart. That's my chart. You're about to lose it. Got it? Okay. Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's May the 30th, 2023, and I've set this chart for noon in New York. So I think today for many of us is actually going to be quite good. The sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Libra. You can see that the moon has just made a trine to Libra, 120 degree aspect to the sun. So I think we're going to feel alive. When the sun and the moon are making a favorable aspect, it's very good for the life force, and the masculine and the feminine are going to be properly balanced. So whatever we're doing, we can do it right, and we're not going to get over emotional about it. I mean, Gemini and Libra, they're both air signs, so it's a time to be rational, to communicate in a measured way, to focus on the facts rather than the emotions. Now, that doesn't mean to say we have to be cold and unfeeling, because if you look at the moon, it's in Libra, and Libra is a sign that's ruled by Venus. And if we look at Venus, it's in Cancer, and Cancer is a sign ruled by the moon. So in the jargon, that means that the Moon and Venus are in mutual reception. And the Moon and Venus are feminine planets. They are fairly soft planets, all things being equal. They're about sensitivity. And so it's a time when we can be sensitive. Yeah, we don't want to get over emotional, but we can be sensitive. We can relate to other people in a very easy way. And if we just pause and feel the vibes, we can kind of understand what's going on around us. We can understand other people's emotions. And so that means it can be really a very harmonious day, even though, you might say that the moon is moving to a square 90-degree aspect with Venus. But the fact that the moon and Venus are in mutual reception really does make a big difference. So I think for many of us, it's going to be a great day. However, there are some interesting midpoints which perhaps complicate matters. Pluto is on the Venus-Mars midpoint. In fact, Pluto is opposition the Venus-Mars midpoint. You see, you can actually see this quite easily. There's Venus and Mars moving towards a conjunction. And if you imagine the midpoint of Venus and Mars is going to be at about 1 Leo, something like that, or even 0 Leo, and there's Pluto opposition. So Pluto opposition Venus-Mars, what does that mean? Well, probably most of us are not going to feel it, but if we're involved in a relationship, particularly a relationship that is complicated, or perhaps it's a new relationship, where there's still a lot of passion flying around, that Pluto on the Venus-Mars could be very intense. Now, that intensity might be exciting. So, yeah, you can, if you're in the right kind of relationship, yeah, there can be lots going on. It can be really intense, very serious sexual vibe there. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's okay. But you have to be a bit careful, because Pluto on the Venus-Mars midpoint can be jealous, it can be possessive, and in certain situations it can be quite destructive. So if you're in a complicated relationship at the moment, particularly a complicated physical relationship, be really careful with Pluto on the Venus-Mars midpoint. So what else? Jupiter is conjunct the North Node. Now that's going to be around for a few days, so that in itself is not a big deal. But it's on, as you can actually see here, Jupiter conjunct the North Node is on the Mars-Pluto midpoint. So, I've already talked about this configuration, but it's still around. Jupiter on the Mars-Pluto midpoint. We are going to really want results. Many of us are going to want results. So we might be tempted to push things too far, particularly when it comes to dealing with other people, because the North Node in astrology can be about karma, but it actually can also be about associations. And so with Jupiter conjunct the North Node on the Mars-Pluto midpoint, maybe we'll be overly ambitious in our networking. We'll think, we've got to get in touch with this person, we've got to get this person on our side. And in the process, we might come over as being obnoxious. One final midpoint, which I want to point out, I'm perhaps being a bit flippant here in a sort of a dark kind of way, that Cupido, the hypothetical planet connected with love and unions and all this kind of stuff, is aspecting the Mars-Saturn midpoint. Now, yesterday when I talked about John F. Kennedy's chart, I mentioned that Kennedy had Cupido on the Mars-Saturn midpoint, and I associated that with him being killed in public, right next to his wife. Cupido is about marriage, Mars-Saturn is about death, Cupido is your union with other people. So I suppose if you're a politician today, avoid driving around in open-top cars with your wife, because someone might decide to kill you. In general, be careful with unions, anyone you're closely involved with. If you're going to a wedding today, I'm not saying that the wedding is going to be a disaster or anyone's going to get killed, but weddings could be an issue with that. So weddings, although I do think overall it's a good day, if you go to a wedding, then something might happen, that's a bit untoward. But does anyone get married on Tuesday? I don't know. So let's look at the forecast for the 12 signs. So let's start. Aries, relationships continue to prosper and your social skills are at the top of the range. Taurus, just because things are boring doesn't mean they are useless. You know how to charm. Gemini, a great day for Geminis. You're more natural than usual and your words make perfect sense. Well, of course, being a Gemini and it being my birthday, I would say that, wouldn't I? Cancer, stay at home, be happy, be comfortable. Relationships exceed expectations. Leo, you're getting the attention you deserve and your friends will be there for you. Virgo, financially, you are astute and your careful planning will soon bear fruit. Libra, from a career perspective, a great day when you can bring your influence to bear without causing offence. Scorpio, like yesterday, you keep a low profile. Keep working on your secret plans. Sagittarius, a time for making new friends and perhaps new partnerships as well. Capricorn, if you put in the work, you'll get the results. One particular person can be very useful. Aquarius, many of the things in your life are in the right place. The time for action might be now. And Pisces, you seem calm, even distracted, but deep down you have a burning ambition. Now let's talk about the I Ching. Now, I do the I Ching to create some balance, and quite often, if I'm negative with the astrology, the I Ching can give a different view. This time, I've been very positive, I think, astrologically, and I don't think it's just because it's my birthday. I think it's because I think overall the planets look good. This time, the I Ching is not too favourable. We require some work. So what do we got? Decay. This is hexagram number 18. And again, I asked the question, what's today going to be like? For people viewing, for you who've come here to this channel. 18, decay, and it's locked, it's not moving. So what does this actually mean? And indeed, the I Ching, certainly the Wilhelm version, talks about worms. I even like you think of a can of worms. But it also tells us that we need to work on what has been spoilt. So perhaps, however good things are today, there seems to be one thing in our lives, something really important, that is a bit of a disaster. Okay, that's a bit strong, but it's decaying. It may be something physical. It may be something, I don't know, a structure. You may have a house that needs to be fixed. It may be a friendship that needs to be fixed, but something's not right. It's not that it's destroyed, but it's decaying. It's getting, there are worms, and it needs to be sorted out. So work out what that is. Think about it. Is it a physical object? Is it a relationship? Is it a state of mind? Perhaps you've got some negative thoughts about something. Perhaps you're jealous, you're angry or something, and it's getting these thoughts are spiraling out of control, and you need to deal with the situation. There's work on something that is spoiling, and you need to sort it out. We need to sort it out. I need to sort it out. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.